Joining me on the podcast tonight is a man of many talents, a writer, producer, director, and actor. It's Jason Leavy. Hello, Jason, and welcome to Fright Club. How's it going?
Good, man. Good. Thanks, Gavin, for having me. A pleasure to be here. Looking forward to talking to you about everything that's going on.
Good. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to chat to me today. I'm very excited to talk to you tonight about your latest project, which is now out there for the world to see on YouTube. The short film Leprechaun Revenge, which is a sequel to the original 1993 Leprechaun film. Over 50,000 views and
Yeah.
over 450 comments. How does it feel to have it out there, and what's the feedback been so far?
This has always been a thing that me and my brother always wanted to do since we were kids. We grew up watching the original Leprechaun, and we absolutely love it. It was our pathway into the horror genre, watching Warwick Davis on the big screen, and we just loved the combination of comedy and horror and the gore and the practical. And we felt that the more time went on, they were still great, fun movies, but it really lost that original touch that Mark Jones really put on it when he donned, the Leprechaun. So we saw that Felipe Vargas, they were supposed to do a Leprechaun 9, and unfortunately he walked off the project. And we saw a lot of fans since we were doing, with Terrifier and Stream and the recent success of the movies we've been doing. They saw this and they were saying, and they knew we were big Leprechaun fans because they would come up to us at conventions and things like that and talk to us and say, "What was your favorite movie?" And we always mentioned Leprechaun.
Mhm.
And we saw a movement starting to happen online, and a lot of people were hashtagging Levy for Leprechaun underneath the comments of that story. And me and my brother saw it, and we say, "Hey, how cool would it be just to try to throw our hat into the ring, but most importantly, make do a passion project of ours, and make a Leprechaun a short film to show people, where we would take the story if we were given the opportunity to do so. Also, just as a love letter to all of our fans who are supporting us and throughout this whole journey." So we wanted to bring something back, bring you back to the 80s, that cool practical effects. And it was an honor to get Mark Holton back and Lyndon Porco as well to reprise his role as a leprechaun. But we went back with the original look, which we really, we fell in love with that look. So we wanted to bring that into the light, and hopefully the fans really dig it. And it seems like they are because we're getting a lot of views, a lot of feedback, and a lot of reviews on it. And it's all positive from what I'm seeing. So it's very humbling to see that.
Good, yeah. I really enjoyed the film.
Yeah.
As you say, it's a real throwback to what the original film brought all those years ago. Lots of fun, surprisingly gory as well, which was a bit of a shock, to be honest with you, but it was good to see. Not a bad shock, a very good shock.
Right, yeah. Well, we wanted to blend what they did in the past and then what our kind of film style has become nowadays, that mega slasher, which they're calling Terrifier, and
Uh,
mix the gore and the funny and the dark comedy. So we wanted to give our little twist to it, and that was one of the ways to do it, is to really showcase, that gore practical effects.
cool, cool, man. So before we get into the film itself, can we rewind a little bit to our youth? We all fell in love with films when we were kids. You've already said that you're big into your 80s horror, and Leprechaun was obviously one of the films that made you love horror. What
Yeah.
other films did you love growing up, and were you always drawn into the horror genre?
It's funny because I knew at a very young age that I wanted to make films, while other kids were, playing Manhunt and Ring and Ding Dong Ditch. Me and my brother would take my mother's video camera and go film, short films and spoof movies with the neighborhood kids. And
Hmm.
it's always been a passion of ours to do it. And what got us into horror in the beginning was actually my mother, really,
Okay.
because she was a big horror fan. And when, everyone else was watching Barney and all those kid shows, Blue's Clues, I'm watching I'm watching The Exorcist, I'm watching Halloween, and I was really fascinated by the genre, and more so fascinated with the fan base because the fans are so dedicated to the genre. And as we traveled and when we started this journey, really going into the horror community and making horror films, we saw how passionate the fans are and how engaged they are with the films and how supportive they are, because they'll let you know when something's really, really good and they love it, and they'll let you know when something sucks and you need to fix it. And
Hmm.
that's where you have to go. You have to go off the basic of learning from constructive criticism. I think that's a lot of people often get put off by criticism, but we embellish it because it makes us get better as filmmakers. And another thing is too, another film that really got me into it, because I'm going back to your question there, is I love the original It. I love Tim Curry, and we worked with Tim Curry on our previous movie we did right between Terrifier 2 and 3 called Stream. It was his first movie he actually did in such a long time. And it was an honor that the journey went full circle, that one of my icons that I grew up watching and we got to work with him was really rewarding. Oh,
Amazing. He's such a great actor.
yeah.
Obviously, Pennywise is one of his, most iconic roles, but I really love Tim Curry in Clue
Oh, great.
as the
Great movie.
as the butler. Yeah, unreal. But yeah, he's a fantastic actor. So you've been in the industry for quite a few years. You said it was always something that you wanted to do as a kid, yourself and your brother Michael. How did
Yeah.
you actually get your foot in the door to actually make films with a bit of money and stuff? Did you just start from scratch yourself?
Well, I would just say that for any filmmaker who's looking to start out, I think you just need to go out there and do it. A lot of people are scared to actually take that step and take that venture. But I say the more you do it, the more you learn from your mistakes, the more you learn from other people and networking and things like that. The only way you're going to be able to do something that you love is if you go into it full force. And how we got started is we started the company in 2010 officially, but we've been doing it ever since, with in high school and grammar school and college. But we started the company in 2010, and then we did our first feature film, which was called Abnormal Attraction. That was a very bold, decision to do that film, but it was a film that we wanted to see done. It's like an adult Shrek, basically. Monsters and humans live in the same world together, and it's a really, really fun movie. And that was the first time we've learned to deal with, actors and contracts and things like that. And obviously, it wasn't perfect, but you learn from those mistakes, and you have to do it in order to learn, like I said before. And then just networking, going out. We would go to conventions and horror conventions because we were fans first and foremost, and to be amongst the fans, see what they really wanted, what they were looking for in films nowadays, and just talking with them because they're just such great people, and as I said before, so supportive of us and so supportive of the genre. So just meeting people through conventions and doing different work, no matter what it is, if it's a short film, a music video, a student project, no matter what, you're going to gain a learning experience from it. So I just say go and do as many projects as you can and learn as much as you can so that when it comes down to your time to do something, you kind of went through all the trials and tribulations.
That's great advice.
Yeah,
So you've already mentioned Terrifier there, so we're going to touch on it a little bit. It's you've had a little bit of success
a
with
little bit.
with this indie horror franchise called Terrifier. I believe you worked in all three of the films. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the first one we came on like towards the ending of their shoot, but we did a lot of pickups with them, and then I acted in the first one, and then the second and third one we fully produced and came on as a team with them and produced those ones. Yeah.
Awesome. What's it been like to see a character like Art the Clown grow so much and become a bona fide horror icon?
It still feels like a dream. I have to pinch myself every once in a while. I see these Funko Pops. I see Universal Studios Orlando and Hollywood just announced Halloween Horror Nights. It's one of the
Uh-huh.
houses. We were sitting on that for a long time, but
Wow.
it's just so like I say, humbling that the fans have taken to this character. Damien really went through came up with this character a long, long time ago, and this is like his baby, and to see how it's propelled to the status of horror icon is so surreal. And it goes out to all the people that worked on the project with us. Without their hard work and their dedication, you can really see it through this film. I don't think it's possible. And we
Hmm.
have such a family-oriented team that we work with each other on every project we do. It's not just, Terrifier. We met on Terrifier, and Terrifier's, is going well, but we work on every other project because once you work with people and you find and you have a gel and you know, you learn your ticks and you learn the way they work, it's
Hmm.
that much easier as you go on with other future projects. Surround yourself with people that have the same aspirations, same energy as you, and you can really go far in this industry. It's all about who you surround yourself with.
And I assume you're going to be working on the fourth one as well.
Yep, yep. It's coming. Damien's writing
Good.
it as we
Yes.
speak, so we're just waiting on his go, and then we'll start the madness all over again.
Um, I want to ask you questions about the fourth one, but I assume you can't really speak
I
about it
can't really
anyway.
disclose a lot, but I
Yeah.
will say what Damien's been saying. It's going to be Terrifier 2 on steroids,
Oh,
so be
wow.
ready for that. We
Amazing.
we have to keep up in the ante at this point, so we're just going to keep pushing limits and giving the fans what they want.
So good, man. I can't wait for it. I really cannot wait for it.
Yeah,
So, I mean, we could talk about Art the Clown all day, but we're going to now talk about another horror legend, Lep. You
yeah,
created this fan film with your brother Michael.
yeah.
You've already said you're a massive fan of the original film. what did you think of the franchise overall? I know some of the sequels are a bit hit and miss. Do you enjoy the sequels as well? Do you enjoy the comedy? Do you enjoy the different?
I love all of them. I think one of my favorite ones is Leprechaun 3 when he's in Vegas. I think it's so fun. I think it's a really really cool idea. Space got a little absurd, but obviously Warwick Davis, anything he's in, his
Hmm.
charm, his portrayal of the character is just unreal. You can't just help but keep your eyes on the screen. But we were really happy with Lyndon Porco too. He was, those are very hard shoes to fill when you go into
Hmm.
a character like that. It's just like you can't jump into Freddy Krueger with Robert Englund, but Lyndon did it, and we were so happy with his performance for the short. And he was great in returns too, and we saw that quality in him and how much he cared for the character and how much he cares for the project in general. He's just a, a, a class A act.
Hmm.
And through and through, and it's somebody I would lo love to work with, for the future and forever. And I'm forever in debt with him because he's so supportive of us, and he's a great guy all around. But overall, the experience of working, with the Leprechaun and doing it, it was so cool just being on set and actually see him get into the outfit for the first time, and it really brought you back to, those early days when you were watching the film,
Yeah.
and to have Ozzie come on, Mark Holton come on, a great friend. He was in the movie Stream that we did, and he's just another, awesome, awesome actor, all in will do literally anything for the betterment of the project. So he's another one that I still talk to this day, and I've got a very close relationship with him, and just overall, it was just a really really cool experience, and I'm so happy that it translated to the fans and that they're calling for more. So hopefully, the most important thing is if you want more, we just gotta hope to the big guys hear us and see it and keep sharing it and tag
Fingers crossed.
Lionsgate and all those things and fingers crossed, and then we'd be happy to talk and hopefully get something out of it and team up and deliver something really really cool for Leprechaun 9 if we're given the opportunity.
You obviously talked about Mark Holton. You said he's a close friend of yours. You've worked with him before. I think he's a fantastic actor,
Yeah.
but I first saw him when he played Francis in Pee Wee's Big
Yes.
Adventure,
Yeah.
and I hated the character so much. And he did such a great job. Obviously, you're supposed to hate him. That
Yeah.
every time I saw him after that, I just hated his face, and
Because
that's
it resonates to the one character. That means he did his
exactly.
job.
That's no disrespect to the actor. He's a fantastic actor, and he did his job so well that I hate him in every film that he was in. Um, but yeah, I have a soft spot for Ozzy, so it was really good to see him come back. You know, were you tempted? Was any idea of you maybe contacting Warwick? I don't know if that was an option at all. Was it?
We know we've seen. I mean, listen, we would love to have Warwick and with and Lyndon and whoever, but the thing was, we really wanted to go with Lyndon and then with Warwick Davis too. I mean, I know I was reading stories and things like that that he wasn't doing it at this point in time with
Mhm.
his kids and things like that, so we didn't really know if he was open to it, and we just wanted to make the film, and Lyndon was great, and Lyndon was there and ready to go, and we were ready to go with Lyndon. We talked. This is something we talked about, for a little while and we're thinking about it ever since we saw, the Levy for Leprechaun thing, and no better person to have than Lyndon. And
Mhm.
obviously, Warwick would be, a treasure to have as well. So maybe somehow, some way, no spoilers, maybe we can
Mhm.
get both of them in and figure it
Good. Good.
out.
Good. Was it an easy shoot? How long did it take to shoot? And was there anything that you wanted to include that you couldn't do it for time or
Yeah,
anything like that?
there was a flashback scene that we wanted to include. We filmed some of it. We might revisit it if we have time or if we can get it edited, which was really really cool. And I think the shoot went very very smooth. It took about 3 days to do, which is actually crazy to do that in an amount of time and turn it around in 3 days. But I mean, the editing took a little longer, but it was pretty much smooth. When you have a team, like I said, that's like a well-oiled machine, like the people that we have, it tends to get easy. But obviously, every shoot has their challenges and their tribulations and things like that. But you have to learn from. But for the most part, this was pretty good. The thing was is just the makeup. It took a little bit of a long time. If I had one gripe, but,
Hmm.
time makes perfect.
Hmm.
So he looked pretty good, and I think he looked great, and how we all remembered him. So
Hmm.
that was the most important thing was to get his look right, and I think we did.
Whenever you decided to actually go ahead and do this, did you have to speak to anybody that, at
No, because
Lionsgate?
again, no, because we were doing it, as solely as a passion project, and there
Uh-huh.
was no money to be made, and it was a fan film. And if something comes of it, great. If something doesn't, then we put out something that I think the fans really would enjoy. But we just wanted to show what our take on this story would be.
Mhm. And you sort of briefly mentioned it there. I assume that you're hoping that the feedback from this will reach Lionsgate. I'm sure it has already.
Yeah.
You haven't been speaking to anybody from Lionsgate, or is that the idea? You're really hoping that this is going to be something that you and your brother can work on in the
Well,
future?
yeah, yeah, that's kind of the idea. It's hopefully that's something we can work on, but if not, we did something really, really cool with it, and hopefully they've seen it. Some interesting things are happening, but I can't really disclose that yet. But a lot of interesting things are happening, with the fan movement and everything like
Hmm.
that. But it would be an honor. I would just say it would be an honor, to take that franchise head on and do something with it. And I think the fans deserve another Leprechaun. I think he's a great character. I think he's up there with Chucky. I think he's up there with all these horror icons. Art the Clown now.
Hmm.
So I think it would be a really, really fun adventure to, dip our feet into that storyline.
Yeah, horror fans are always wanting more, aren't they? They're always wanting more of the characters that they love. And we haven't had a good versus film in a long time. We had Freddy versus Jason. We've had all these other versus films that people want over the years. Do you think Lep would survive in a versus film, or who would you like to see him fight? Chucky
I
would
think he
be.
would. That was Chucky would be a good one. And I remember when I was a kid, when Freddy vs. Jason first came out, I remember there was always rumblings of Leprechaun and Chucky, but it just never
Yeah.
materialized. I think that would be a really, really fun movie. But again, it's just a lot of things need to be worked out for those movies to happen. It was actually a very surprising thing that, Freddy vs. Jason happened because
Hmm.
a lot of things have to go through the loops and stuff to get something like that, two icons to come together in one film.
Hmm.
But I mean, I think that would be a really fun movie. But for us personally, we would just love to take the character of the Leprechaun head on and tell that story and see where it would go from there. I think that would be very interesting for fans. I think that would be a really, really fun, cool adventure for me and Mike and the rest of the team. So we would be honored and excited if we ever got the chance to do that.
Right, well, I am going to try and promote this as much as possible because
Thank you,
I
man.
want everybody to see this short film. I want everyone to go and support you and your brother.
Thank you.
And I want everyone to, knock on Lionsgate's door and say,
Thank you so
these are the
much.
guys that should take this franchise into the future. That being said, have you got any other projects that you're working on in the future that you can even just give us any clues on or talk about?
Yeah, so we just recently announced that we did a movie called Stream, which is
Hmm.
about I don't know if you've seen it, but it's a horror film about this family that goes to this hotel and it's overtaken by this company that brings four serial killers in and they put cameras up everywhere and everyone's placing bets on who lives and who dies. And we got a lot of great reception from the fans on the first film. We had a lot of great horror icons in that as well. Jeffrey Combs, Danielle Harris, Tony Todd, Tim Curry. The list goes on and on. Danny Roebuck, and the fans wanted more. They wanted more of the story, so we announced actually like 2 months ago that we're going to do a sequel to that as well. And we're really excited to take a different edge of that story and tell and lift the curtain up a little bit more of what's really going on with that franchise. And it's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully we get a lot of cool horror icon and horror names in this one as well. So
Awesome. Really, really
yeah,
looking forward to hearing what you do next, man. Right, well, I think that's all the time we have right
cool.
now. Thanks again, Jason, for joining me, and everybody at Fright Club would like to thank you and wish you and your brother all the best on Terrifier 4 and Stream 2, and hopefully another Leprechaun
Hopefully,
film in the
Leprechaun.
future.
That's it, Gavin. Listen, it's your voice to God's ears.
I know. So, all the best, mate. Thank you so much for taking the time out to speak to me today, and I'll hopefully speak to you soon.
Yes, yes, for sure. And thanks for having me. Appreciate it, man.
Okay. Everybody go check out Leprechaun Revenge on YouTube now. I'll post the link and all the bits. So all the best. Take care, Jason.
All right, man. Take
Bye bye.
care.
Bye bye.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye. Well, there we have it, folks. Big thank you to Jason. He was an awesome dude to talk to, and it would have been cooler to speak a little bit longer about Terrifier as well. But maybe we'll get him on when the fourth film is released. You just never know, guys. You have to keep checking in with us. So we want you all to go and check out the Leprechaun Revenge short film on YouTube now, and we hope that Lionsgate contact Jason and Mike and let them boys do their thing for a brand new Leprechaun movie. There may be something happening. There may be. Jason teased something there, but we're not sure. We're not sure exactly what he was teasing because he couldn't really speak. But you don't know. Maybe if we keep pushing, something's going to happen. I feel it in my bones. We just need to keep the momentum going. So go and support those guys now if you can. Thanks very much, guys.